Hey there. I'm so glad you're watching today. Welcome to the Leader Transition Institute's October 2025 Learn, Do, Grow, Repeat. We're a bit off schedule this month, but it is still October. My name is Annie Brock. I'm a former Army paratrooper, legal clerk, and medevac helicopter pilot. And I'm also an Air Force spouse. What do I love to talk about? Communication, leading through challenging times, and purpose. Oh, and my family, they're amazing. Have you ever considered that hope isn't fluffy, that it's fuel? In the mid 1800s, when families packed their covered wagons and headed west, they didn't have GPS, comfort zones, or guarantees. They had uncertainty in every direction and hope in their hearts. Not the kind of hope that sits still, but the kind that moves. They didn't know exactly where they were going, but they believed something better was ahead. And that same kind of hope is still what carries us forward today. Psychologist Dr. Charles Snyder said hope isn't a feeling, it's a way of thinking. And he defined it with two building blocks. Pathways thinking, believing there's a way forward even if the first door closes. And agency thinking, believing you can take steps along that way. When those two beliefs come together, you experience hope. Now, you might not control the storm, but you trust that you can steer your ship and that there's a harbor somewhere ahead. Hope isn't a mood, it's a motion. It's the energy that turns maybe into let's try. In 1972, Navy fighter pilot Mike Penn was shot down on his 85th combat mission over Vietnam. He survived the crash, but was captured and held as a prisoner of war in Hanoi for 8 months. He faced isolation, starvation, and daily uncertainty. The fog around his future could not have been thicker. Mike says he kept himself alive by focusing on the tiny things he could control. Reciting poems from memory, flexing his legs for 5 minutes every hour, replaying his squadron's call signs in his mind. Each act was a thread of agency, proof he still had choice, even inside a cage. And when he was released and came home, his battles weren't over. He had to rebuild physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And eventually, he began helping other veterans navigate trauma and recovery, turning his suffering into service. Mike's story shows that even when you can't see any pathway at all, you can still create one. Sometimes hope starts as simply as saying, I still have a role to play. So why does hope matter? Well, research shows that hopeful people experience lower anxiety and depression, greater resilience and physical health, and stronger relationships and teamwork. Hope doesn't erase uncertainty. It gives us the courage to face it. It's what keeps us in motion through layoffs, transitions, deployments, on those silent nights when every plan feels like it's changing. I want you to think about your own life. What's one moment when hope helped you keep going? Go ahead and put it in the comments. I'll come back and find it. Uncertainty is like fog. It doesn't just block your view. It makes you doubt your ability to navigate. And when hope weakens, 3 things usually happen. Agency fades. We start thinking, nothing I do matters. Pathways vanish. Plans fall apart, and you can't see alternatives. Meaning blurs, and you start wondering, what's the point? That's why uncertain times feel exhausting. They attack the very structure of hope. But there is good news. Hope can be rebuilt. because hope is a cycle, not a switch. When something shakes you, loss, change, the unknown, you move through a cycle. You appraise what's happening. You look for a path forward. You gather the will to take a step. And you reflect and make meaning from what you learn. Each loop strengthens your capacity to move again. Even tiny steps help you to rebuild confidence. Andrew Leslie from New Zealand broke his neck in a mountain bike accident. Doctors told him he might never walk again. He spent months in rehabilitation, relearning how to sit, stand, and move. And instead of accepting that his story had ended, he decided to write a new chapter, one step at a time. His pathways began with minutes in hydrotherapy, then progressed to treadmill sessions with a harness, and finally to outdoor walks. His agency grew each time he stood longer than the day before. And his meaning came from helping others with spinal injuries find the courage to start again. 2 years later, Andrew not only walked, he ran a 5K race and began advocating for adaptive recreation programs across New Zealand. Andrew's story reminds us that even when our original plan collapses, hope helps us rebuild a new one. I want to share 5 practices with you that you can use to rebuild hope if you've lost it. The first is anchor, then reframe. You go on to simplify, connect, and then tell the story. So let's talk about each of them. When we anchor, we find stability in small routines, gratitude, or faith. Anything that grounds you in what is, not just what might be. When we reframe, we see obstacles as data, not dead ends. One door sometimes needs to close so another can open. Simplify. I love this one. Break your goals into micro steps. Tiny progress creates momentum, and momentum builds belief. Connect. Well, hope multiplies in community. And when your own tank runs low, you can borrow from someone else. And last, tell your story. Rewrite your narrative. This isn't the end. It's the middle of my story. And meaning gives motion direction. In case you missed them, here they are again. First, to anchor, then reframe. Third, my favorite, simplify. Fourth, connect. And fifth, tell the story. A volunteer with the Samaritans, a crisis line organization in the United Kingdom, once said, "Maybe everything I've been through brought me here, to use my own story to help someone else." She had survived her own season of darkness, and now by listening to strangers in pain, she helps them find light, and in doing so, keeps her own hope alive. But that's the beauty of hope. When you share it, it doesn't divide. It multiplies. By sharing your hope with others, you not only uplift them, but you also strengthen your own resilience and belief in a better future. It's exceedingly essential to make hope a habit. Hope grows stronger when you practice it. So celebrate small wins, track your progress, limit the noise that drains your spirit, and serve someone else. It will fill your tank faster than anything else. And if you lose hope for a while, please don't panic. Just borrow some from someone near you. Here are my closing thoughts. My friend and mentor, John Maxwell, said, "Hope is the belief that tomorrow can be better and the courage to help make it so." Hope doesn't ignore reality, it reframes it. We don't always know what's next, but hope whispers, there's still something good ahead, and I have a role in creating it. So protect it, feed it, and share it. When you can't see the whole path, take the next step anyway. The light will meet you in motion. So what's one small thing you'll do going forward to keep your hope alive? Put that in the comments too. I'll find it, I promise. Because hope isn't fluffy, it's fuel. Happy Halloween! I'll see you again on Tuesday, November 25th at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time.